Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And again, along with my colleagues, it's a pleasure to stand in this House and talk about the Positive Saskatchewan and the throne speech that was just delivered a week ago. The theme of the throne speech was growing stronger, and it is very characteristic of this government to keep moving forward, not like in the past under the administration of the NDP. Before I get going into a lot of comments, I want to say a few thanks, as is customary, first to my family and my wife Debbie for all the support and assistance they provide, and the late suppers, the attending different functions, as we try to be as prominent in our constituencies and promoting our communities as much as we can. I thank her for that. Judy Hadfield and Rosalie Boots are my constituency assistants who work very diligently at the office. I'm quite firm on good office rules, and the office is open from 9 to 4 every day, and they do a great job of making sure that they're there to serve the people of Moose Jaw and Moose Jaw North with regular attendance and handling all the concerns that come into us. Mr. Speaker, back in 2007, my favorite number was 33, because that was the margin of victory by which we won in that election. Well, in the last election, that number had grown to 1,908, and I will never take for granted the confidence that the people of Moose Jaw North put in me. The 4,425 people that cast their ballots in my favor the last election, I certainly appreciate that. I will never have an opportunity to thank them individually, but I will always be indebted for the confidence they put in me, and I try every day to live up to their expectations. Mr. Speaker, the community of Moose Jaw is a very active community. There's a lot of beauty in the city. We've got the Crescent Park that's right in the downtown heart of the city with an amphitheater, very attractive for a city of its size, and attractive for visitors and tourists that come in there. Wakima Valley goes through the southern part of the city, and again offers a lot of recreation and opportunities for camping and leisure there as well. We have a world-class health spa and hotels, unique gift shops and tea rooms and specialty stores, beautiful hotels and conventions facilities like the Grant Hotel, the Temple Gardens, and the Heritage Inn. Mosaic Place that was brought in just after this government helped with the creation of Mosaic Place, which is home for our WHL Warriors who are doing very good this season. The Field House, likewise, along with the soccer pitch. We were able to construct a brand new hospital, complete with a helipad and the hyperbaric chamber, and the first rural MRI in Saskatchewan. In Moose Jaw, you could call it a car dealer heaven for all the car dealers that are represented there, and the good deals that they provide and the service they provide. We don't want to underestimate the agriculture, which is the heart of agricultural area in Saskatchewan. The dealerships and the service are second to none, along with the progress of the marketing and processing that is starting to see some real insights in steps into Moose Jaw. We've got new restaurants. We've got, next month we will turn the sod for the 7th Habitat for Humanity home, which shows the progression in Moose Jaw. A live theater company, along with, we'll never take for granted, the 15 Wing and Colonel O'Reilly and what they contribute to our community as well. Along with that, we've got community service clubs and organizations. Recently I attended the Sports Hall of Fame inductee dinner, and I want to, just for the record, read some of the names into the Hansard. Rod Heisler was inducted for baseball and hockey, and Graham McMaster was from the medical profession and what he provided for the teams. Brian Torres, who is from Moose Jaw, but is a retired coach from the Huskies. He was included in this year's inductees, as was Steve Mitchelluk for lacrosse, Ryan Anholt for baseball, and the 1995 Masters Relics, the ladies fastball championships. It was a great pride in having these people inducted and recognized in our community. Mr. Speaker, at this time I'm going to take a few minutes, if I may, to mention Valley View. As you can recall, the decision not to accept admission into Valley View was introduced by the former government in 2003. In 2012, the decision was made to close down or wind down the operation of Valley View Centre and transition residents to community inclusion. Obviously, when you take a step like this, there was a big concerns from a lot of people, especially the people that worked out there, and the families of the residents and the public at large had some very big concerns about the process. Well, we knew that the process would take time, and it's just taking far more time than we expected, but that's not a problem. We faced this with the certainty that we were going to do it right, and time was not of the issue at that as we went forward. Well, last week I attended a public discussion, Courageous Conversations, that was co-hosted by the Saskatchewan Association of Community Living. And in this, they had some of the residents who had transitioned into some of the group homes that were established. Mr. Speaker, it was delightful to hear the answers and the description they had of their life going into the communities. For example, they could go for coffee with their friends, or they could stay up after supper and watch TV. Some of them were delighted that they could go grocery shopping because they never had an opportunity to go grocery shopping before. And even I have my own bedroom now. And when you think about it, there's some great living experiences that these people are given to by making that transition, and it's turning out to be really the right decision. There's about 52 that have been transitioned. There's a number more to go. We'll take some time and we'll make sure we'll do it right. Mr. Speaker, the speech from the throne takes me back to 2007 in the election when I walked up those steps for the first time. It was a new beginning, and it really was a new beginning, with the pride and anticipation as I sat in my seat for the first time. That new beginning was also for Saskatchewan, that would bring about the hope and positive attitude and growth and economic expansion of our province. Our province has since emerged as a national leader in a lot of sectors, improving the lives of people who reside here. It was the beginning of the new Saskatchewan, Mr. Speaker. I've been always amazed at the resources that we have in this province and how for the greater part of 73 years this province didn't grow. It remained stagnant. And especially the previous 16 years, this amazing province was listed as have-not status under the NDP. The province then was governed by small-thinking people who didn't understand the concept of business, or how business works, or growth, or how to create employment, or how an economy is structured. We all know that without good economic policies, you can't have good social programs. I recall in 2004, when I was the president of the Saskatchewan Chamber of Commerce, wanting to talk to the Premier. And the Premier at that time was from my city as well, from Moose Jaw. I remember meeting with him at a function and saying, I'd like to sit down and talk to you about business, about growth. And he said, absolutely. He gave me his card and said, phone the office. Well, when I phoned the office, they said, well, you have to send it in writing. So I sent a letter in writing and requesting a meeting with the Premier of the day. I had heard nothing, and a month later I resent it. Still heard nothing. And Mr. Speaker, it wasn't until several months later when they tried to force the available hours legislation on the backs of businesses, and finally they backed off of that imposition, and which would have been the dart of the heart of business, because they didn't understand business or how business works. The NDP prided themselves with social, as a social justice party, yet they do little for the social justice conscience. Just Google Murdoch Carrier. Just go ahead and Google that, and you can find out the values of their justice conscience. $275,000 for ex-civil servant convicted of assault. It tells the story of their real moral judgment. The seniors' income plan, which was mentioned before by my colleagues, the NDP had it at $90 a month, a supplement for low-income seniors. It stayed at $90 a month, Mr. Speaker, for 16 years under their governance. $90 a month. When our government took over, almost immediately we doubled that benefit, and later we increased it even the threefold to the amount it is today of $270 a month, helping those seniors. Our government introduced the seniors drug plan. Yes, it has increased in the past budget, but under the NDP, they didn't have any such plan for seniors. A $100 prescription would have been a cost of $100 to our seniors. Mr. Speaker, the throne speech includes a new seniors education property tax deferral program that will assist seniors with household incomes under $70,000 with the option to defer the education portion of property tax on their homes. I mentioned our abundant resources and the lack of business understanding under the NDP. I mentioned their social injustice and their seniors' disregard. Mr. Speaker, they even devalued education. They closed 176 schools. 176 schools, including Ross School in north central Moose Jaw, part of my constituency. Teachers were laid off. Good. They didn't put education first, they never have. And after all our tax dollars going into education for that many years, education for our students had to leave the province because there was no opportunity. They left our province and they moved to other places where there were opportunities and grew the economies of those provinces because there was no job creation strategy to develop the work opportunities. Well, Mr. Speaker, in the new Saskatchewan, our Saskatchewan Saskatchewan Party government has built or is building 40 new schools. 21 new schools accommodating 11,000 students, opened their doors for the first time this year. Let's talk about the bridge. Further to the construction of the 40 schools, our government has expanded and fixed dozens of schools throughout the province. I'm thinking here in Moose Jaw, the major roof repair in St. Michael's in Moose Jaw. They include improvements to Peacock and to Central Collegiate. And just very recently, within the last 2 weeks, Sunningdale School was excited when a new portable classroom was delivered and will be in function for their schooling very soon. Mr. Speaker, we've heard from teachers and parents about curriculum development and proficiency in mathematics. Our government will ensure all Saskatchewan students are schooled in the basics of math and will expand math reinforcement and support, broadening access to common sense methods that have proven successful in the past as well as other jurisdictions. To help create an active investment atmosphere, our government created the Saskatchewan Plan for Growth. It's a growth plan that created a competitive tax system, a tax system that would attract investment in new ventures and create growth. We offered students retention incentives like the Graduation Retention Program and the Saskatchewan Advantage Scholarship. With more jobs available and the best retention plan for graduates in Canada, our young people found the future here in Saskatchewan. They stayed in Saskatchewan and began contributing to our economy, building our province, and growing their future in a place abundant with wealth opportunities. In the last decade, under the Saskatchewan Party government, Saskatchewan has gone from the worst job creation to the second best, attracting businesses, creating employment, providing an opportunity for our young adults to work. In 1 decade, Saskatchewan's population has increased by over 160,000 people and continues to be an attractive place for investment, for opportunity for families to grow and to enjoy a better quality of life. The speech from the throne continues to be mindful of the concerns of business, Mr. Speaker. In Saskatchewan, 99% of all businesses are small businesses with fewer than 50 employees. These small businesses contribute nearly 1/3 of the province's GDP. They employ over 30% of the province's workers and paid out over $6.2 billion in wages and salaries last year. Small business is big business in Saskatchewan. To assist small businesses, we have announced plans to raise the small business income threshold from $500,000 to $600,000, the highest threshold in Canada.
We'll have more money to give to the north.
Mr. Speaker, this year's capital investment in Saskatchewan is forecast to be $14.5 billion. We continue to build our province for the benefit of our citizens, and we are doing it in a responsible manner. To review, the NDP showed a lack of business understanding, a lack of social program assistance, a lack of respect for seniors, and a lack of education understanding. So let's look at health. When the Saskatchewan Party took office, there was an extreme shortage of doctors and nurses with the longest surgical wait time in Canada. The longest surgical wait times in the country. 52 hospitals have been closed. They didn't close the Moose Jaw Union Hospital, they just abandoned it. For years and years and years, the medical staff and the community were asking for at least an addition. But the answer from the NDP government of the day was no, no, no. This is changing under the Saskatchewan Party government. We've hired over 750 more doctors and 3,400 more nurses of every designation. Our hospital in Moose Jaw is relatively new, and I'm certainly proud of it. It's got the hyperbaric chamber and the first rural MRI. And throughout the province, we are pleasing to improve health care with the construction of the Jim Patterson Hospital in Saskatoon and the new Saskatchewan Hospital in North Battleford, and we've constructed 13 long-term care facilities. Before the end of this year, the government will complete the consolidation of the province's 12 regional hospital authorities into a single Saskatchewan authority. The single authority will reduce administration costs while improving the coordination of care and enhancing the accountability of our healthcare system. Also in this session, our government will fulfill its commitment to provide individual funding for children under the age of 6 diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, or ASD. The initial funding level will be $4,000 per year for each child. All this, Mr. Speaker, and in the last 10 years we paid down a substantial part of the provincial debt. The theme of this year's speech from the throne is growing stronger. The province continues on that regard in growing stronger. Mr. Speaker, there's a number of other items but I'm running a little bit short on my time. But the speech of the throne, the theme is to grow stronger. That's what this government has done in the last 10 years, is to keep on growing, and it will continue to grow. Mr. Speaker, I would be remiss if I didn't say a few comments about our leader, the Premier of the province. I first met the province when I was managing the radio station in Swift Current, where he lived, and at the time he was the Economic Development Officer. When we combined the AM and the FM radio station, we were looking for a program director of that time. And I knew there was a young gentleman that had some radio experience, who was very sharp, and I actually interviewed him for a job at the radio station as the program director. Well, he didn't accept the offer, and he moved on, and a few years later, I had the opportunity to move to Moose Jaw to operate the radio station there. Shortly after that, I had a call from the member from Estevan, who is now the leader of the opposition, and asked me if I would be interested in would look at the nomination for Moose Jaw North. after giving it some consideration and knowing the leadership abilities of this gentleman, I decided to do so. Mr. Speaker, under his direction, this province has certainly moved forward and grown. And I can appreciate what he has done, and he has certainly helped me in that decision and asking me to be part of his team. And it just shows the leadership that he has and the confidence he has put in a lot of the people on this side of the House, and the reputation that he has developed for himself throughout Saskatchewan as such a capable leader, and for Western Canada and as a whole throughout the nation, and even with the world influence. Mr. Speaker, it's going to be hard to see somebody take his place, but it is an opportunity to look at new ideas and refresh the policies that we have to move forward and even keep going stronger. With that, Mr. Speaker, I'll take my place, but I will not be supporting the amendment, and I will support the speech from the throne as it was made from our members here.